Taxes are like peak adulting, and you might not feel prepared for them, but we got you. We're gonna cover everything from filling out important paperwork to making the best of your tax refund. I know it can seem like a lot to take in. There's paperwork, there's deadlines, there's penalties, and more paperwork. So we're gonna take it step by step and learn all about taxes.
Taxes are what every American citizen has to pay so that the government uses to take care of the country, your roads, your buildings, maintenance, everything like that.
It's the single largest expense over a person's lifetime. You'll spend more money on taxes than you will spend on housing and food combined.
Welcome to Money Talks. Today we're talking about withholding. What is it, and how do you actually fill out those tax forms to select the appropriate amount of withholdings? But before we do that, we have some real taxpayer questions from Tyreek and Mia.
My name is Mia. I'm 27 years old, and I'm a production assistant living in Portland, Oregon.
Tyreek here. I'm 31. I'm a filmmaker from Brooklyn, New York.
The last splurge item I bought was an $89 houseplant.
My last splurge was horseback riding lessons for me and a special lady.
The best investment I've ever made was a car I bought when I was 23.
And the best investment I've ever done is my education.
Today on set, we have our experts, Lauren and Lynn, to help answer questions. So let's dive into question number 1 from Tyreek.
So I'm a recent graduate and I just received some new hire paperwork from my employer and I'm not sure how I'm paying the right amount of taxes. I think I should hire somebody to help me, guide me through this process because I'm very confused. So can you please help me out? Let me know how much I should be taking out of my money, how much I should be giving back to the government.
So withholding is basically the concept of understanding how much money is going to be withheld from your paycheck when you get paid by your company.
What that is essentially your employer collecting a portion of your paycheck and paying that directly to the federal government on your behalf. What your employer will request of you is to fill out your W-4, which is where you will then indicate your status as a tax filer.
There's a W-4 calculator. You have to go to the irs.gov and you'll need to enter the information that they're asking.
What you'll first do is fill out what your individual status is. So if you are single, you fall into a different tax category than somebody who is married or someone who is considered a head of household.
In the hierarchy order, either married filing a joint return or head of household, that's at the top of the hierarchy. After that is single. After that is being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return. And then after that is married filing a separate return.
You can be single but qualify as head of household as long as you have a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. An example is that you have a child who is your dependent. You can claim each of those children so long as no one else is claiming them as a dependent on their individual return as well. Foster children and adopted children also qualify. There is an age requirement, so they need to be under the age of 19, or if they're a full-time student, they need to be under the age of 24.
Some people are also taking care of their parents, or some individual could be an adult who has developmental issues. But if you provide the primary care for someone and no one else is claiming them as a dependent, then typically you can file that person as a dependent.
Unfortunately, we cannot claim our furry friends as allowances.
Great advice, ladies. All right, our next question is from Mia.
I recently started freelancing at a production company. What tax paperwork should I expect to fill out to make sure my taxes are paid?
Dun dun dun. What tax form do we fill out?
If you have a corporation, an LLC, or an S corporation or partnership, instead of completing a W-4, you're going to complete a W-9.
So the W-9 is essentially what is a request for your taxpayer identification number, and that is what helps you get paid.
Don't get confused by the word tax ID number. When someone asks you for your tax ID number, they're asking you for either your social security number or your employer identification number.
And it basically collects all of your information so that you can then be qualified to receive your paycheck. I also recommend that if you're taking home your gross amount of pay, try to set aside between 20 and 30% because you will end up owing that back in taxes at the end of the year. As a freelancer, you're definitely considered the employee and your employer as well. Just make sure to set aside anywhere between 20 and 30% of that take-home pay.
All right, Lynn.
The biggest thing that you should do is make sure you document everything, every single business expense. Your mileage, your gas receipts, if you go out to dinner to discuss business, and those are the things that you want to keep track of that you will report on Schedule C of your 1040 tax return when it's time to file taxes.
All right, we learned a ton about tax withholdings from our fabulous experts. Stay tuned to learn all about how to prepare to file your tax return.